Hi, Marlon Price again. In this video we'll talk about how to do an annual report. It's very easy, especially if you've been keeping up with your compliance requirements during the year. Every agency is required to continue to do the things that they say they did during the recognition process. So in a previous video, we talked about staying recognized, and we have a spreadsheet that you download to make sure that you do all the things that are necessary to stay recognized. Now, annually, the annual report is the document that we use to make sure that all of our agencies are continuing to stay in compliance with recognition standards. And it's done once a year. Usually, I will send you an email to remind you that your annual report will be due at the end of next month. If you got recognized, you received your recognition in January, then at the end of January the following year, your annual report will be due. I'll try and send you an email to remind you at least a month or so in advance. It is not that difficult to do an annual report if you've been keeping up with everything during the year. So let's go to the website. One of the things that you'll want to do is come to the download section. You'll go down here to Staying Recognized, and then there's the annual report form. The annual report form, when you download it, it opens in Word, but it's a fill-in-the-blank document. So you just go from and use your tab button to go from one spot to another in the report. You fill in your agency in the report year, the name of the chief, a phone number, program manager. You just complete the top part of that. And when you get down here to these parts, you can just put yes by clicking in them or no, whatever the appropriate response is. Now, we're asking here about policy and organizational changes. And if you answer these questions, yes, I made a change in my deadly force policy, then we need you to send us a new copy of that along with your annual report. It will tell you, if so, please explain and attach a copy of the policy revisions. What we would want you to do is right there, just explain what happened. We changed our policy from this to this. We took out the force continuum from the policy. We're only going to use that in training, and so attached is a new copy of the policy. Now, if you make a change in a policy, this is very important to minimize the amount of work that you need to do. If you made a change in the policy and it did not affect the issues that the standard addressed, like if it doesn't affect the content of the policy, you just made some changes. Instead of the use of force report going to this person, it goes to this person. If you make a change that has nothing to do with the actual meat of the policy, then you do not need to submit that. And that will keep you from having to do a lot of work, because there's a lot of little changes that take place in policies every year. And the ones we need to take a look at are the ones that actually deal with whether or not you still meet the standards. So look at the standards dealing with like use of force or pursuit or whatever the standard is, and make sure that it did not fall out of compliance with the policies and the standards. So you complete this thing by saying yes or no, and at the bottom it'll say if you answered no to any of the above questions, explain that. You can explain it. It asks if you had any facility modifications, required reports. We do ask you to send us copies of 4 things along with the annual report, and that is the use of force analysis that you do. And we need to be very clear about the use of force analysis. It is not simply a count of how many on this shift and how many on that shift, and how many were tasers and how many of this, and it needs to go deeper than that. The point of that analysis is to try and give the chief of police information that shows what is actually causing officers to have to use force, and whether that force is the force that is used is there a better way to do it? Do we need more training? Do we need different equipment? Do we need to change the policy? The individual use of force justification was reviewed already at the time of the event. It was reviewed when the sergeant filled out the form and sent it up the chain of command. If it was an improper use of force, then the Internal Affairs probably looked into it. If it was appropriate, then it's filed. At the end of the year, this analysis is designed to try and give the chief information on the whole picture. And you need to look at who is using the force, what preceded it, what required the use of the force, those types of things, in order to give the chief information to make decisions on. Same way with our annual analysis of pursuits. And then you also have to submit a proof that you conducted your property room inventory for that year. And then also an annual analysis, very similar to the analysis on the use of force and pursuits, an annual analysis of accidents and injuries. Are there things that we can do, and with recommendations on, are there things we can do internally to reduce accidents or reduce injuries? So the chief does have to sign the form. It says, I hereby certify that the agency can demonstrate ongoing compliance, he signs and dates it, and the program manager signs down there where it says prepared by, and you submit that with the copies of these documents that we just talked about. Again, if you make a change in a policy during the year, and it's just for lack of a better term, cosmetic changes that has nothing to do with a standard, you do not need to report that. But if you do make a change in a standard in a policy that you used to prove compliance with a standard, yes, that needs to come in with the annual report. If you have any questions about it, feel free to pick up the phone and give me a buzz, and we'll talk it out. And we want to minimize the amount of work that you have to do on these annual reports. All right, thanks.